Tune into Nice Radio every Saturday at 7:30 a.m. for A View from the Outside, hosted by Brereton Horne. A View from the Outside takes a look at key issues affecting St. Vincent and the Grenadines and gives a global perspective on how these issues are viewed. Host Brereton Horne will examine a variety of topics to enlighten, stimulate debate, and explore solutions. Hear the facts, hear the real-life stories, hear A View from the Outside. Join Brereton Horne at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday on Nice Radio for A View from the Outside.
This society needs a spectacle. It might help us to see some evil. This society needs a spectacle.
On A View from the Outside this week being the 9th of September 2023, we look at a mirror image and we pose the same question to Vincentians which the late Prime Minister of Barbados, Errol Barrow, posed to Barbadians almost 4 decades ago. He asked them, quote, "What kind of mirror image do you have of yourself?" Unquote. Over 37 years ago, on the 13th of May 1986, a mere 2 weeks before the general election in Barbados then, Errol Barrow, as the leader of the DLP, whilst addressing a party rally, when he presented his party's 27 candidates for the elections, asked the nationals of Barbados, "What kind of mirror image do you have of yourself?" That speech by Errol Barrow has been hailed as one of the greatest political speeches of all times, not just around the Caribbean, but around the world. Here are some excerpts from that memorable speech by Errol Barrow. Quote, "What I wish to speak to you about, very briefly here this evening, is about you. About yourself. I want to know what kind of mirror image do you have of yourself? Do you really like yourselves? There are too many people in Barbados who despise themselves, and their dislike of themselves reflects itself in their dislike of other people. Now, what has bothered me in this society is that every time after elections, people expect certain things to take place. And although the law says that he that giveth is as much guilty of bribery and corruption under the Corrupt Practices Act as he that receiveth, we know that even on polling day, people were given envelopes with $100 bills in them. So, what kind of mirror image would you have of yourself? If there are corrupt ministers in Barbados tonight, you have made them corrupt. I am not trying to make excuses for you, but I realize what has happened in this society. I look around and I see people who have not done an honest day's work in their whole lives, driving around in MP cars, having an ostentatious standard of living, unlike many poor families in St. John, who the welfare officer gives $50 to feed a family of 10 for a whole week. What kind of mirror image can you have of yourself? Unquote. Today, in a similar vein, we, here on A View from the Outside, pose the same question to the nationals of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We, today, ask our Vincentian nationals, what kind of mirror image do you have of yourself? We ask our Vincentian nationals, do you really like yourself? Do you like the mirror image of yourself? Do you like the mirror image of yourself a once independent farmer who was self-sufficient, who employed other people, who paid your own bills, your electricity bill, your water bill, your food bill, who sent your children to university, and now you are reduced to being a security guard or made to rely on poor relief. Do you like that image of yourself? Do you like the image of a person who just waits around for handouts from politicians? Do you like the image of being the young person on the block waiting for a politician to come and buy you rum and give you $5 or $10? Is your image one of a freeloader who only cares about yourself and not others? Do you like the mirror image of being that young person going to a politician's office and surrendering your dignity for a promise of a scholarship or some other favor? Do you like the mirror image of being that person having to be at the mercy of politicians, waiting for them to give you a roadwork so that you can try to send your children to school or enjoy Carnival or Christmas? Do you like the mirror image of being the person who waits around for election to come so that a corrupt government with corrupt politicians and their enablers who aid and abet them can bribe you with lumber, cement, and galvanize, or with as little as $50 in a t-shirt? Is your mirror image one who aids and abets corrupt politicians with their crimes against the people and the state? Is that really the kind of mirror image you have of yourself? Do you like the mirror image of having politicians lied repeatedly to you, and yet you continue to fall for those lies? Do you like the mirror image of being the person who accepts bribes at election time to aid and abet corrupt politicians? Do you like the mirror image of being the one who remains silent and does not demand accountability and transparency from corrupt politicians? Do you like the mirror image of yourself where you allow politicians to get away with saying that their leadership is of more importance to you than having adequate health care? Is your mirror image one that does and says nothing when you have a government which seems to put the interests of foreign investors over and above that of the people of the country? Is your mirror image one of being the person who willingly acquiesce and emboldened corrupt politicians? Is your mirror image one that watches a government steal from the people and takes that money and spends it on their own high lifestyles and unnecessary buildings? Is your mirror image one that watches that same government and those same politicians time and again show contempt for you and for the people? Is your mirror image one that watches that same government not only show contempt for you and for the people, but puts you in the most unfortunate situation where you have contempt for yourself because you allow them to do it to you? Is your mirror image one where you do not challenge your government when they take away the lands of citizens and do not compensate them, even when the court orders them to do so? Is your mirror image one that watches your government dip into the NIS fund, the pension fund of many, and put that pension fund at risk and in serious jeopardy, and you neither say nor do anything about it? Is your mirror image one that allows yourself to be bamboozled and hoodwinked with sweet talk and trite explanations? Is your mirror image one that allows your government to destroy the multi-million-dollar business of a citizen, a local businessman who employed over 60 people, while that same government gives all sorts of concessions to foreign investors? Is that really the kind of mirror image that you have of yourself? If not, what kind of mirror image do you have of yourself? When Errol Barrow delivered that speech, which became famously known as the mirror image speech all those years ago, he told his Barbadian audience of the mirror image which he had of them. Most importantly, he told them that he saw a mirror image of a people who could run their own affairs and pay for running their own country. Not of a people who are content with waiting on others, including other countries, to give them freeness and handouts. He told them that he saw a mirror image of a people with self-respect, a people with a desire to move their country forward. So, here on A View from the Outside, today, we again ask you, our Vincentian nationals, what is your mirror image of yourself? And what would you want your mirror image to be? If your mirror image is currently not the one you want it to be, then you have changes to make. Vincentians, let your mirror image be the one you want it to be. Until next week, this is Brereton Horne with A View from the Outside, with a reminder to send your feedback as usual to A View from the Outside. You can also get us on Facebook at A View from the Outside and on YouTube at A View from the Outside. Have a pleasant Saturday, have a wonderful Sunday, and have a productive week ahead as you answer the question, what kind of mirror image do you have of yourself?